Perfect.
Get up and get excited, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode number 34 of the Bright Lights Podcast. I'm your host, Deeks, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Mr. Brandon Mahoney. How we doing, baby?
I saw it, dude. Doing pretty well. Good day today. Chilling, storming like a mofo outside, but besides that, we
it's
chilling.
raining. It is raining like absolute hell right here in the Midwest, especially in Illinois. Did you see that shit in Kansas City, dude? That
Yeah,
big
dude.
ass,
I was just talking about that with my parents. That's crazy.
That's terrifying, dude. But for our second straight podcast, our wonderful third co-host, Mr. PT, is not here. I believe he is attending to some things currently, so he cannot make it tonight. We are recording pretty late, but we miss him dearly, and hope we can get our beloved friend back soon.
Yeah, hopefully soon
This is
enough.
going to be another baseball podcast on the Bright Lights Podcast. It's baseball season. We're right in the middle, right in the heart and soul of our beloved
Hey, and the draft's coming up, buddy. Draft is coming up.
Fuck yeah, dude. I want to do a draft podcast.
Oh, we will. Don't worry, we will.
I fucking love the draft.
All of our prospect junkies, be ready.
Oh yeah.
I am definitely a prospect junkie, being a White Sox fan. So, holy shit, Bellinger just hit a ball 411 feet. Holy fuck.
Well, that is what he does well, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, actually.
That we will.
Today on our wonderful podcast, we're going to talk about the All-Star ballot that just came out. We're each going to give you our own All-Star ballot, what we think the guys should be, instead of those people that just put all White Sox players, all Padres players, all Cubs players, whatever.
Which I did earlier today, by the way.
Oh, everybody does that. And then we're going to talk some baseball news.
Besides Yonder Alonso, because he fucking sucks.
I took Ian Kinsler off of it, but I mean, other than that, it was all Padres. Before we get into it, let's plug some things here. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at BrothersPod. Sports Regime, they are having some changes going on, but we're still a part of it. We love those guys.
We love it. Yep, great. We love the new management, no doubt about it. We've actually had some great experiences so far in the short time that they've been added to management. Got some new listeners. Awesome.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of new listeners, we are partnering with Rise Up Podcast at RU Pod Community. Yep. I think on Twitter. You might have to double check that, but basically what they are is they're partnering with the new Sports Regime management to get a bunch of podcasts together. That's where we got put into a bunch of group chats and stuff like that, talking to people, sharing podcast stuff, showing some love to other people that are doing sports podcasts as well. So make sure you check those.
We love our podcast buddies. We love them.
Hell yeah, dude. We're going to be retweeting a bunch of their stuff, so give them a follow, give them a like.
Summer 19, be ready, boys. Summer 19, be ready.
Exactly. All right, baby. I hate wasting our time, their time, everybody's time. So go ahead. We're going to do this. We're going to start with the American League and go position by position. A couple things here. There's no pitchers, which is the stupidest thing ever, but the pitchers come out like 2 weeks later, and the All-Star game is in an American League ballpark this year, and there's no DH option for the National League for some reason.
I think they fucked up on that one. I think they didn't think that through. Yeah,
so maybe that'll change coming up soon. But so Mahoney, you can go ahead and start this. We're going to start American League, go down, then we'll switch over to the National League.
Yeah, so we're doing position, right?
Yeah.
All right,
so start out with the shithole that is the first base position in the American League.
Yeah, so kind of a homer pick here. I'm going with Abreu only because the fact is there is absolutely no good first baseman in the American League, and I can even say as a White Sox fan, Abreu hasn't been that good either. He's been really hot as of late, though. He started off the year batting like 130. He's already got his batting average back up to 260. I mean, he's leading the American League first baseman in home run and RBIs, so that kind of helps his cause a little bit. His batting average isn't quite there, but neither is anybody's in the American League. So I'm going with Abreu again, back-to-back All-Star selections. Last year he didn't really deserve it, and this year he doesn't really deserve it either, but shit crowd, so he's the best pick in that shit crowd, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was leaning towards Abreu too. I'm gonna go just so we get some diversity here. I mean, this position is so fucking stupid. It's so shitty in the American League. I'm gonna go Luke Voit of the New York Yankees. He's second in home runs, second in batting average. I think he has he has the highest OPS. He's tied for the highest OPS for C.J. Cron, who actually could win it too. And the fact that he plays for the Yankees probably helps him out a little bit.
So only a little bit.
So that's the guy that I'm going to go for. All right, second baseman, who you got?
Second base, I got former Cubby Tommy La Stella.
Oh, let's go. Me too, baby.
He's kind of catching the world on fire right now. He's leading the league in home runs for a second baseman. I think he has the highest or second highest batting average for an American League second baseman. He came out of nowhere.
The second highest.
Yeah,
I guess if you count DJ LeMahieu as the second baseman, but he plays a lot of third base, and he doesn't really play every day. But La Stella does play every day. So
yeah, La Stella does. He missed a couple games about a month ago for an injury, but that didn't cause any slowdown from him. He's been on fire the whole year. He continues to be on fire. I think he has double-digit home runs. Fun fact for La Stella, he has more home runs this season than his whole career combined. So that's a fun fact for Tommy La Stella. It's just he's catching fire. He's out of nowhere. He's going to be a fun pick for second base American League, especially since Altuve is hurt.
Yeah, dude. I think Altuve, no matter how shitty he was playing, if he didn't get hurt, would have definitely probably taken this spot here. But other options outside of Tommy La Stella, like I said, DJ LeMahieu is an option. Ray, second baseman, Brandon Lowe or whatever.
Brandon Lowe, rookie this year. He's been fantastic for the Rays.
He's been on fire. Michael Chavis.
I picked him up in fantasy. He's been great for me. He's hitting nukes.
And then, obviously, Whit Merrifield of the Kansas City Royals. He's a stud.
He's just a great hang-around guy.
I'm going to go La Stella, too. He's hitting 297, 12 bombs, like you mentioned, more career home runs this year than he has in his entire career. Really, probably the only good other hitter in that lineup right now, other than Mike Trout. 905 OPS. And how fucking cool would it be that this guy just gets traded for some no-name prospect, and the next year he turns into an all-star? That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
He's got my vote. All right, let's talk about third base.
Third base, again, kind of brutal for the American League, but I'm going my boy, Alex Bregman. He's been my boy. I love him. He's actually been, started the year slow. A lot of guys started the year slow this year. A lot of big-name guys, but he's kind of catching fire right now, getting the Houston Astros back on top. They've been on fire lately. Beat the Cubs last 2 games, kind of keeping it going, but yeah, I got Bregman. Been on fire.
Yeah, Bregman was a lot of people's MVP pick going into the year. He's a fantastic player. Like you said, he started the year slow. I think he'll probably get the nod because, he's a great player, but he's also a fan favorite too. Pretty much everybody I know likes Alex Bregman. I'm going to go with the guy who I don't want to say deserves it more than Bregman, but I think he does in Hunter Dozier.
Yeah, I agree 110%. He's been killing the White Sox all year.
Of the Kansas City Royals, he's hitting .322 with 11 bombs and 33 RBIs with an OPS above 1,000, the highest OPS among all third basemen in the American League, probably in all baseball. Honestly, I'd kind of be surprised if anybody was above a 1.016 OPS. But another guy, he's a young player for the Royals. If Whit Merrifield doesn't make it in, he might be their default. Like every team gets an all-star rep. I don't know if that's the case because I think his numbers are good enough for him to be an all-star. But I'm just going to go with Hunter Dozier.
Yeah, now we're going to go over to the shortstops where, shockingly enough, this is probably the most stacked position in the whole league for voting. Again, I'm going to go with Tim Anderson. Maybe a little homer pick here, but he's probably been arguably the most exciting player in baseball right now. He's been .337 with 8 bombs, 25 RBIs. But even more shockingly, if you would have told somebody that 2 AL Central shortstops would be at the top of the shortstop voting at this point of the year, they would have. I would have said no way. Especially not thinking that it'd be Jorge Polanco of the Twins also. Jorge Polanco been .335, 9 bombs, 26 RBIs. He's probably been the most shocking player, honestly, in the league, in my opinion. He's kind of came out of nowhere. But, again, shortstop, American League, I'm going with Tim Anderson.
Yeah, my default pick when we did this, I didn't even look at it. I just put Tim Anderson down. I mean, that's kind of probably ignorant of me to do. But as you were talking, I was just scrolling through and looking at all these guys. You got Tim Anderson. Elvis Andrus is hitting fucking 320.
Yeah, he's came out of nowhere too.
Carlos Correa. Francisco Lindor has like the worst stats out of all these guys. Adalberto Mondesi of the Kansas City Royals, he's a stud. Anderson Simmons is hitting above 300. Gleyber Torres has 13 bombs.
Mondesi already has 41 RBIs. Holy shit. Yeah,
I know. He might be their default rep, too, if Dozier doesn't get in. I'm going to go with Jorge Polanco of the Minnesota Twins. I just changed that right now. 332 batting average, 9 bombs, 26 RBIs with an OPS of almost 1,000. Twins are a really good team, man. Twins are a really good baseball team. This guy's the heart and center of it. He could be playing for a batting title. It actually could come down to him and Tim Anderson.
Yeah.
I hope he makes it in, dude, because I mean, like I just said, the Twins are really good, and he's
the Twins might have a lot of people representing them this year. They are insane.
Yeah, dude. I love Tim Anderson, though. I love how he plays baseball, and I mean, I bet a lot of people do like the way he plays baseball, but on the other side, I bet a lot of people don't like the way he plays baseball. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Jorge Polanco of the Minnesota Twins is my pick.
But actually, I want to keep at shortstop just for a little bit longer. I want to kind of highlight some of these other guys.
There's a lot of good.
There is a lot. I mean, of course, I think Frankie Lindor below kind of bottoms out. But Gleyber Torres is batting 284 with 13 bombs. Mondesi, like you just said, I think Mondesi has 10 triple. He's got an insane amount of triples.
Fast. I didn't realize how fast he was.
No, I didn't either.
That Royals team. Billy Hamilton, Mondesi, and Terrence Gore. That's insane.
Tonight at the Sox game, it was interesting. As maybe some of you know, some of you guys are White Sox fans or just baseball fans in general. No, Lucas Giolito's been on fire. And
he tore it up today.
And he had Terrence Gore on first base and Billy Hamilton up to bat. So it's kind of a fucked up situation because you have to worry about the bunt. You got to worry about Gore stealing. It's just a bunch of things happening. But actually, we'll get to James McCann in a little bit, but he actually threw out Terrence Gore at second base by a mile, so that was pretty cool. Another guy I want to mention here, of course, Carlos Correa. I mean, don't really have to mention him.
Yeah, stud, absolute stud.
Oh, absolute stud. And then somebody who's very underrated that doesn't get talked about a lot is Andrelton Simmons, who not only can swing it, he's probably the best fielder in the whole league.
I mean, I'm not even talking about just shortstops. Like, he's the best fielding shortstop by far. He might be the best fielding defensive player in the whole league.
He's in the same category as Kiermaier, Kane, those guys, Arenado.
All the guys. Look at his defensive numbers, and he honest to God, could retire as the greatest defensive shortstop ever.
Oh, him and Ozzie Smith are going to be compared for the rest of time.
Yeah, and he's a guy who has always been like a 260, 265 hitter. He's hitting 300 right now. That guy with his glove hitting above 280 is honestly one of the best players in baseball, and he doesn't get talked about enough because up until this year he wasn't a bat first guy. He was a defensive guy, and he's still a defensive caliber player right now. But if the bat comes around, literally he's one of the best players in baseball, in my opinion. I think.
Oh, I definitely agree. So now let's go. Yeah, let's go to catcher.
Let's go catchers here.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So
I know who you're gonna pick here.
Yeah, a lot of people probably do. I guess it's kind of a homer pick, but I've been watching my White Sox a lot, so I kind of know the lay of the land, and MLB Network's on right now, so I see everybody else too. But before I say my pick, I want to talk about a former White Sox player, Omar Narvaez,
he's a beast.
Who's batting 287, 8 bombs, 20 RBIs. 2 of those bombs came against the White Sox earlier in the year when the Mariners had that hot streak. He's kind of a sneaky candidate. And before I say my pick too, I want to talk about Gary Sanchez for a minute. If he starts the All-Star game,
he's going to start.
I can't.
You know he's going to start.
I know he is, but it's going to drive me nuts. I don't know.
He has to be like the most overrated catcher in baseball, right?
He's up there for the most overrated player, period, in baseball.
I understand he's going to hit like 30 home runs
but he can't do anything else.
Just because of how big he is, but he's going to hit right now he's hitting 265.
Which is high for him.
Yeah, he's probably going to hit like 240 when the year's all said and done with like 30 bombs.
And he's one of the worst. He is the worst defensive catcher in the league.
He has a hose for an arm, but other than that, absolutely terrible. He's lazy behind the plate.
He misses fastballs right down the middle.
he hit a home run yesterday against the Padres that I think might have not even gone over 305 feet.
No, I saw something. I think it was like the second or third shortest home run of the year.
Yeah, that's the effect you get from playing at Yankee Stadium. But I mean, he's got a ton of power, but he's nowhere near the kind of guys that he gets talked about in with Real Muto and Contreras and Buster Posey and those kind of catchers. But go ahead, just fucking say your pick, because we all know it's goddamn Brian McCann and the fucking
James McCann, not Brian McCann.
James McCann.
James McCann has been 350 ever since Wellington Castillo's gotten hurt. He's been our everyday catcher, continues to be not only a great hitter, but he has been the best thing that the White Sox could have done this offseason was get him for our young pitchers. He spends a bunch of time with them. He helps them out. I know this doesn't count for the All-Star Game ballot. I know other people aren't looking at it, but it's something that a lot of guys like me and Deegs will look into because, again, we're baseball nerds, and that's all. We put all of our time into baseball pretty much. So James McCann has a 913 OPS, 350 batting average, 4 bombs. I mean, there's a lot of ways that this can go. Deegs, I'm kind of interested to see where you go here because another former White Sox, Josh Fegley of the Oakland A's.
Dude, can you read my mind?
I think so. I think so. Go, you talk about Josh Fegley, buddy.
Okay, so
that's actually crazy though. That I was pretty positive you were going to pick him.
Originally, Gary Sanchez was my pick, right? And Gary Sanchez is going to start the All-Star game because he's a New York Yankee, and that's just how it works. He's going to start the All-Star game because the All-Star game format here and the way baseball does it is so stupid, where it's a fan vote. I hate that shit. But anyway, I was listening to the Starting Nine podcast. Shout out to Jared Carabas and Dallas Braden, and they were talking about. They have a new segment where every week at the end of one of their podcasts, they show some love to a guy that's been performing well or to a guy that's been playing well and whatnot. And Braden mentioned Josh Fegley. Uh-huh. And obviously, every time Braden talks about the Oakland A's, I'm like, I take it with a grain of salt because he's an Oakland A diehard or whatever. So I'm looking at Josh Fegley's stats here, and keep in mind that pretty much every single catcher in the American League sucks at hitting, and in all of baseball in general. But I mean, he's a 282 hitter. He's got 7 bombs. He's got 32 RBIs. He plays for a team that we're going to talk about here in about 15 minutes. It's probably the hottest team in baseball right now. Like you mentioned with James McCann, the impact that this guy has working with catcher or with young pitchers and a multitude of pitchers. This guy's really good at that too. He's a great defensive backstop. I don't think he's going to be an all-star because, I mean, when you talk about the Oakland A's, they'll probably have one of their bullpen arms represent them at the all-star game. But he's a guy who I think is one of the more surprising catchers in baseball this year. Another guy I'd put right up there is Omar Narvaez. He raked with the White Sox last year. He's raking with the Mariners right now. I'm not going to say he's a bad defensive catcher, but he's not really like a stud by any means behind the plate, like some of these other guys are. But he rakes, and raking gets you in the All-Star game, and the Mariners are terrible, so he might be their lone rep. But Josh Fegley is my pick for the Oakland A's.
All right, so let's go one by one here for outfield, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll start off. You can go wherever, pick any 3. First off, do you have Trout?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just get Trout out of the way.
Don't even talk about Trout.
Yeah, so we both got Trout. If you don't have Trout on your ballot, you're an idiot.
Yeah, go play in traffic or something. Like,
come on. So...
come on now, it's Mike Trout. He's the best player in baseball. Yeah, he's the best
player in baseball easily. But another shocking guy who I talked about on the podcast all the time. I wanted the White Sox to sign so badly. Michael Brantley of the Houston Astros, been 325 with 10 bombs and 36 RBIs with a 921 OPS. I mean, Brantley's had some breakout years with the Cleveland Indians.
Having an MVP caliber year.
This is an MVP caliber year. Honestly, correct. I wouldn't be surprised if it's him and Trout down to the wire. I mean, Trout's always going to be, always going to be in MVP discussions. But Brantley batting 325, nobody could have predicted that. Having 10 bombs, before June 1st, nobody would have thought of that. And 36 RBIs. He's on fire. He's playing great defense, too, in Houston. Just everything's clicking for him right now.
Oh.
Ooh,
Okay.
Excuse me.
If I get this outfield right at the All-Star game, if the three guys that I named off, not counting Mike Trout, if the next two guys that I talk about make the All-Star game as starters, I'm gonna give away like fucking Cubs tickets or something, dude. Because it's not gonna happen.
Which actually, it's funny that you say that. We might be in the works for that. So be ready,
Okay.
Bright Lights Podcast crew.
That's beautiful. But my second outfielder is Tampa Bay Rays outfielder Austin Meadows.
Fuck yes, okay. Great pick. Dumbass Pittsburgh Pirates.
Batting average. I understand. I don't think he qualifies for the batting title, but he will be there very soon. With 11 home runs and 30 RBIs.
How dumb are the Pirates for trading him and freaking Glass now?
I don't even want to talk about it, dude. It just makes you want to. I don't even want to talk about it. But with a 1.105 OPS, Brantley is certainly a guy who I would slot in here. He's having an MVP caliber season, like we talked about. But fuck, this guy is pretty much a rookie hitting anywhere above 320 when he starts to qualify for the batting title. That's an all-star, dude, and I love him. I'm glad he's out of the National League, I guess. I don't know, but if he starts in the all-star game, I'm gonna be so happy.
I think he might, dude. I mean, if he keeps putting up these numbers, I think there's gonna be no doubt.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's hear your third guy.
Third guy.
I hope it's my third guy. Dude.
Before I say my third guy, I want to say one guy that I think has a chance, and that's Joey Gallo, just because he hit Snoop.
Damn it, dude. God damn it.
Is that your guy?
Yes, that's my guy.
You talk about him before I say my pick because I just started talking about him.
What's there to talk about? He's going to hit fucking 40 home runs. He's hitting above 275.
He has a 1.1 OPS. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's hitting above 275. And if Joey Gallo, with his power, is hitting
home run derby, baby. He's got home run derby written all over him.
If he's hitting anything above 260, that's insane. So he's my third guy. So my outfield that I'm rolling out there as of today is Joey Gallo, Austin Meadows, and Mike Trout.
Do you know what, dude? I hope we see that.
Let's go. All
right.
Who's your guy then?
My third guy is George Springer, Houston Astros.
That was my guy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's hurt right now.
That's why I took him out.
Still batting 300, 17 bombs.
Yeah, out of a leadoff spot.
43 RBIs out of a leadoff spot is insane. And again, has a 1.032 OPS. I mean, there's just nothing wrong. And another Houston Astros outfielder, Josh Reddick, he's kind of fallen off the face of the earth right now, though. I mean, he was batting like 345, 350 like a week ago, and he's down to 315. So we might start seeing him lack some production. But, yeah, the Houston Astros outfield isn't looking too shabby.
If Springer doesn't get hurt and isn't out for like 4 or however long he's out for, you're legitimately looking at a leadoff hitter who could hit 35 home runs. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Like, not out of it.
No team is beating the Houston Astros if their leadoff hitter is hitting 30-plus home runs.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen. That's inhuman. All right. Let's
DH.
go to the DH here.
I know who you're gonna pick.
Better have the same guy. There's only one option here. There's only one option.
In my opinion, there's two. But if you don't pick, the first one's an obvious pick. It's JD Martinez. I mean,
he's my guy.
Yeah, so. You got to pick him. He's batting over 311 bombs, 31 RBIs. But an interesting pick right here is Dan Vogelbach, big boy, like 450 fucking pounds. Just, I love watching him trot around those bases because he's just pure tubbiness. He's batting 253.
Did you see the home run?
Oh my God! It was like 460 feet.
He took like 3 minutes to run around the bases, dude.
I mean, you can't blame him for hitting. I mean, it's helping him out with that big boy strength right there. Batting 253. Not too good out of a DH spot. That's fine. 15 bombs and 32 RBIs. He's on fire right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take back my statement about there only being one guy. I think there's a guy who could maybe slot in here. He's not under DHs, but I guess you could. I mean, I guess he DHs sometime. I don't know. I mean, if you could put anybody as your DH, which is what I assume the National League is going to do, I would put C.J. Cron.
Yes, I agree.
270, 13 bombs, 34 RBIs. He's going to hit like fucking. Who knows? Like
he does DH for them though sometimes.
He hits tanks.
He does.
Some other guys for the American League that will probably make it as their team representatives, Miguel Cabrera. The Tigers are terrible, so he'll probably maybe sneak in there if he qualifies enough to get in. Mookie Betts probably makes it in he's one of the best players in baseball, so I would fucking hope so. In terms of the Toronto, I don't even know. I don't even want. There's a ton of teams that are going to have guys.
I bet you Vlad Guerrero Jr. sneaks in as a bench bat.
No way. There's no
dude,
way. If he sneaks in, I'm going to be so pissed off.
No, dude, it's just because of the fact that Vlad Guerrero Jr. and the MLB want some publicity. Because honestly,
if he sneaks in,
who's going to be their All-Star?
Stroman.
True. Stroman has been pretty good. Yeah, you're right.
If he gets in over Marcus Stroman, who has like a 2.4 ERA right now, I'm going to be so pissed off.
Hey, side note right here, though. Chris Davis batted 247 the last 3 years. He's batting 248 right now, so we are on 247 watch for Chris Davis.
That's like some Illuminati shit, dude.
That's really weird.
That's so scary. That's terrifying.
That is pretty.
I'm going to take the lead here on the National League.
You do that, buddy.
I'm sick and tired of you doing things before me.
Well, we all know Josh Bell's your first baseman.
He's not my first baseman.
Wow, really? All right, I want to hear this.
Let me tell you who my first baseman is, right? Josh Bell's going to make the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Okay? In the National League at first base is pretty solid. You have Freddie Freeman, Josh Bell. Goldschmidt's having a good year. A guy that we're going to talk about in like 20 minutes. Oh, my boy. He's having a good year, too. Surprisingly, Joey Votto's having a shitty year.
Hey, it's an odd year for Eric Hosmer. It's an odd year, baby.
I am going to go with former San Diego Padre and former Boston Red Sox.
Rough.
Anthony fucking Rizzo is my All-Star representative at first base.
Can't blame you.
He started out the year slow. He was hitting like 260 like 3 weeks ago. 291 now. He's on a fucking tear, dude. He tore up the Garrett Cole the other day for the Houston Astros. 15 bombs, 42 RBIs with an OPS above 1,000. Josh Bell is going to be the All-Star representative as his crazy video game-like numbers deserve it. But I'm going to go with Anthony Rizzo of the Chicago Cubs. I'm guessing that Josh Bell's yours.
Yeah, Josh Bell is mine. Batting 340 with 17 bombs. 48 RBIs.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's crazy.
He has over a 1.1 OPS right now. I mean, I feel great for the guy just because, I mean, I know he had a great rookie year. He struggled the last year or two.
Yep.
But he's coming along. He's being the prospect that everybody thought he would be. Josh Bell is playing really well. And who doesn't love the Dreads?
Exactly. All right. Moving on to a position that honestly rivals the American League for the shittiest position group in all of baseball.
Agreed.
Is the National League second base position. I'm just looking over it really like Albies he's hitting like a below 270. Cesar Hernandez is hitting above 300. He's an interesting one here.
Yeah.
Mike Moustakas with 13 bombs. My pick is the guy who I think will represent the Arizona Diamondbacks at the All-Star game, Ketel Marte.
Yeah, good call.
275 batting average of 12 bombs, almost 40 RBIs. Again, the Diamondbacks really aren't that good. Maybe it's Greinke, I don't know, but I feel like Ketel Marte is good enough to start at that position. Another guy who was a top prospect, kind of never lived up to it, is living up to it now. He can play second base. He can play outfield. He's a switch hitter. He hits tanks. Yeah, he terrorizes the Padres whenever we play against them. But Ketel Marte, you're my starting second baseman in the All-Star game, buddy.
Yeah, like you just said, this position fucking blows. I was thinking about going Moustakas just because, I mean, Moustakas has a good name in baseball. But I'm going to go with Cesar Hernandez. He's batting over 300. He's actually got 6 bombs, which actually isn't too bad for Cesar Hernandez. He's really known just for being a contact guy. 25 RBIs is nothing to scuff at either. Cesar Hernandez, second baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies. You're in the All-Star game, buddy.
Do you have anybody not named Nolan Arenado or Javi Baez at third and short?
I have Arenado at third. You can make a case for Rendon, batting 320 with an over 1 OPS. Even freaking Justin Turner's batting over 300, so that's interesting. And I actually do not have Javi Baez at shortstop for the National League.
Okay, so Nolan Arenado is the best third baseman in the National League. We don't have to talk about him; he's an all-star.
Yep.
I have Javi Baez as my shortstop. This is a position group that's pretty solid. Jose Iglesias is having a good year. Gene Segura is having a good year. Trevor Story is a fucking stud. And then you have Paul DeYoung, who I have a feeling is your pick.
How did you know?
Roll tier, baby. Roll tier.
Roll tier, baby.
No, he's a beast. So go ahead and talk about Paul DeYoung. I have Javi Baez. He's a stud.
So for my MLB The Show guys, Paul DeYoung's probably the best silver card that you can have in the game. But he's a gold.
He is.
He's a gold now, so he's kind of tiered up. But Paul DeYoung, big power shortstop. Who doesn't like seeing bombs? Batting 291, a little bit below 300, has an almost 1 OPS. I mean, he's just, I don't know. He probably won't start the All-Star game, but he's kind of like my sneaky pick. You got Trevor Story, who's always going to compete for that. And I'm almost positive it's going to be Baez just because, it's Baez. But I wouldn't be surprised if Paul DeYoung sneaks in as a bench bat because he'd be a pretty good bench bat for the All-Star game.
All right. I think there's one guy at catcher in the National League that's like far and away better than everybody else.
I agree.
Wilson Contreras is my pick. He's definitely your pick too.
Yep.
Just ridiculous numbers: 312 batting average from a catcher, 12 bombs, 32 RBIs with an OPS above 1,000.
And Conforto just hit a grand slam for the Mets. There you go, Draft Neck Mark. Good for you, buddy.
Hey, shout out Draft Neck Mark for Michael Conforto. He's probably going nuts on Twitter right now. But yeah, I mean, Wilson Contreras is probably one of the better defensive catchers in baseball. He's the best back picker I've ever seen in my entire life. And if he's hitting above 300 with an OPS above 1,000 as a catcher, you got to start talking about him as a potential MVP candidate. So Wilson Contreras is both of our catchers. Moving into the outfield, I am going to pray to the Lord Jesus Christ that you have Cody Bellinger in as one of your outfielders.
Go ahead.
I'm also going to kind of do like a little side prayer that you have Christian Yelich as your second outfielder because if you don't, and real quick, both of those guys. Cody Bellinger is hitting a very modest 383 with 19 home runs, 49 RBIs, and an OPS that is almost at 1250, which is fucking ridiculous. Christian Yelich, 322 with 21 bombs, 44 RBIs. The MVP race, I'm telling you, is going to be really fun going down the stretch. Yelich is having one of the better seasons of ever, and Bellinger might just win it because he's also having one of the greatest seasons ever.
Yeah, so, you know what? The outfield for the National League is kind of stacked.
It's got some dudes. I'm gonna change my pick because up until about 15 seconds ago, I had Melky Cabrera of the Pittsburgh Pirates as my last outfielder. Instead, I have decided to go with Jeff McNeil.
Ooh, interesting. Talk about him.
333 batting average. He plays every day, so he does qualify for the batting title. Not a power guy. 2 bombs only. I don't care about that. He's in that leadoff spot for the Mets. Does not strike out a lot, and he's your prototypical lefty / hitter who's going to spread the ball to all fields. It just finds ways to get on, plays the game hard, knows how to play baseball. He's not a guy that's going to go up there and knows that he's not a power hitter and still try to hit fucking 40 home runs in 1 year. He's just going to put the ball in play, spread a little bit. Reminds me a lot of Jeff Kent. I don't know why, but every time I see him
I
play
actually
baseball,
agree 110%.
I directly think about Jeff Kent, just less of a douchebag. So Jeff McNeil is my starting outfielder.
Yeah,
right next to Cody Bellinger and Christian Yelich.
So the guy who I actually voted for is my Lord and Savior, Jock Peterson. He's having a pretty good season. Obviously, he's not going to start. And honestly, he probably won't even be a bench bat. But he's having a pretty good year for Jock Peterson standards. Batting 270 with an over 1 OPS with 15 bombs and 30 RBIs. But my actual pick, and just like you, Deegs, I did have Melky Cabrera. And then I looked into it a little more. And I'm going with the freight train, David Peralta out of Arizona.
I fucking hate this guy, dude.
Well,
let's talk about David Peralta. Go ahead. Talk about why you picked him, and then I'll tell you why I despise this fuckhead.
All right. So I have a feeling that the way you feel about David Peralta is how I feel towards Gerardo Parra. I cannot stand Gerardo Parra. David Peralta, been 310, 7 bombs, 30 RBIs. He's hurt right now. He has a 9 OPS. I mean, he's just been. I have him on fantasy too, so I kind of keep closer attention to him. I don't think he's ever really had a negative game for me. He's just a very good, consistent player. Hits nukes and he comes in the clutch. Diego, tell me how much you hate this guy.
Hold on, I'm trying to find it. All right, David Peralta plays for the fucking Arizona Diamondbacks, a team I hate more than anybody except for the Dodgers. This guy, I get to see this guy 15 times a year walk into Petco Park or stroll his way through Chase Field and just obliterate the San Diego Padres. He's a career 320 hitter against a team that he has played more than anybody against. Literally, he has not played. He does not have more plate appearances against any other team in the entire National League than the San Diego Padres, and he's hitting 320 against us. He's an absolute monster. Every time this guy comes up to the plate against the Padres, he literally turns into Ted Williams and just destroys us. And I hate him for it, but he's so good.
Pete Alonso double that a baby.
He's so beyond good at baseball that it pisses me off that I have to face this guy 15 times a year. But he's definitely he's an all-star. He's an all-star. He's going to make it over Ketel Marte if the Diamondbacks have to have only one rep, despite the fact that I think Marte should be the starting second baseman. So that concludes.
Actually, no. I want to add. I want to add a fun part to this.
Okay.
I know who I'm going to pick, but I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Pick a DH for the National League.
Oh, shit, dude. A DH. Melky Cabrera.
Okay, so that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'm going with Pete Alonso here, actually.
He could be another one, too.
He's rookie. I think he's going to be up there for Rookie of the Year, no doubt about it, for the National League. I mean, there's nothing that guy can't do wrong right now. He's hitting bombs. He's hitting extra base hits. He's hitting for average right now too. Honestly, he's doing everything right. Let's look at him right now. He's batting .260 with 17 bombs and 40 RBIs with a .950 OPS.
It's absurd.
I mean, for a rookie, that's really freaking good. But yeah, I mean, and Melky Cabrera too. He was going to be my pick for the outfield. I think Melky Cabrera makes it no matter what. So, yeah.
I'm going to make this more fun because we like to have fun here at Brothers Podcast. We're both fun people.
I think I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
There's no pitchers on here.
Let's go.
Right
all right.
Now, Brandon Mahoney, I want a starter for the American League, and I want a starter for the National League.
Let's make this even more. Let's even make this a little bit better. You picked the National League because you're a fan of the Padres.
Chris Paddock. Let's fucking go, baby.
All right, and I'm going with Lucas Giolito here, but you talk about Paddock because I agree 110%.
Chris Paddock is 4-2 with a 1.93 ERA, 56 strikeouts, and a 1.5 WAR as a fucking rookie. He is on pace to have one of the best seasons ever by a rookie pitcher. The only other guy I think rivals him right now is Hyun-Jin Ryu, who is turning into like Clayton Kershaw in his prime right now type of player. But yeah, dude, he's my pick. I think Ryu will probably start it if he keeps going on this stupid tear. But Chris Paddock, the Texas boy, suited and booted, the sheriff, is starting the All-Star game for the National League. So if he starts the All-Star game,
I agree 110% with you, actually. And I think he might, because you know what? He is the badass motherfucker out of the fucking...
Yes.
Is he a South boy? I feel like he's from Texas.
He's a Texas kid, baby.
I knew it.
Suited and booted.
I knew
He's going to stroll in to Yankee Stadium tomorrow and mow those fuckers down.
I hope he does. Chris Paddock is actually one of my favorite pitchers in the league right now. He's just such a badass, dude. He really is.
He doesn't give a fuck about anybody. Literally nobody. He doesn't care if you've won 15 Silver Sluggers or if you've hit 75 home runs in one season. He does not care about you. He knows and he thinks that he is better than everybody that has ever stepped up to a batter's box against him. And that guy is a goddamn psychopath, and I'm here for all of it. So he is my pick to start the National League.
You ready for this?
I know who you're going to pick.
I'm going Lucas Giolito.
I like it.
And listen to this. He's 5-0 in his last 5 starts with a 1.24 ERA with 38 strikeouts. His last start was a complete game shutout. He went 8 innings tonight. He's 6-1 with a 2.77 ERA. He has listen to this. Last year, what did we say I think it was our last podcast. Giolito was statistically the worst pitcher in baseball. Yeah. He had way more walks than he had strikeouts. Right now, he has 59 Ks and 19 walks. Not only that, last year he led the league as a pitcher for the most stolen bases given up. He's only given up 1 stolen base so far this year. He's only given up 3 home runs in 9 starts. I mean, he's actually 7-1 now, and actually I think his ERA might be a little bit lower actually after the game tonight. He's making me proud. That is for sure. He's making me in the South Side proud.
That would be incredible if Giolito and Paddock squared off in the All-Star game.
2 young dogs going at it. I would love it.
Unfortunately for both of our fan bases, I think Hyunjin Ryu will start for the National League because he's 7-1 with like a 1.6 ERA.
And I think Jose Barrios is going to start for the.
It's either going to be Barrios or it's going to be Verlander.
Or fucking Domingo German is pretty good. Herman.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. Verlander's 8-2 with a 2.38 ERA, leads the league in strikeouts, 95 Ks over 79 innings. He has a sub-1 WHIP, and he's 36 years old, that should not be legal.
Domingo Herman is 9-1 with a 3.4 ERA with 63 Ks. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but Verlander's 95 Ks in 79 innings, dude. That's pretty crazy.
Jesus. And I saw it firsthand with the White Sox. He is mowing people down.
He's so good.
But I think we could both agree for the American League, if he didn't get hurt, it would have been Tyler Glass now.
Yes, 100%. Well, he would be leading the Cy Young vote right now if it wasn't for if he didn't get hurt, which sucks because he's so good.
Yeah.
All right, that's our All-Star ballot. I want you all to let us know how we did. If you think we're stupid, please let us know. I love when people tell me how dumb I am. And let us know what your ballots are. Some guys that you think could sneak in. There's certainly a lot of players that are worth earning All-Star spots and getting that trip to Cleveland to participate in the American League or National League side of the All-Star game. Now, we've gone pretty long, so I'm going to make this quick. We got some baseball things I want to talk about here. Some 3 quick baseball news.
All right, let's get it.
The first one is one that I don't think can be ignored. I think we have to talk about them because it's a team that we both, when we did our tier rankings, actually all 3 of us kind of shit on them. The Oakland A's. The Oakland motherfucking A's are 10-0 in their last 10 games.
Yep.
They're 29-25 on the season. They're in second place behind the Astros. They're 6 games behind the Astros, who are just unbelievable right now.
Yep.
So you can't even blame them for that. They are tied for the second wild card with Boston currently, which is pretty impressive considering they were in dead last like 3 weeks ago.
Yep. Not even 3 weeks ago. I think it was a week or 2.
Yeah, they were in dead last, like below the Mariners, like at least 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Key contributions from a guy we talked about earlier, Josh Begley, Matt Chapman, obviously one of the better players at his position in baseball.
Chris Davis is just doing Chris Davis things.
Just a ton of ragtag guys coming together and playing baseball, dude, playing team ball.
And actually, you know what, Deegs? Sorry to burst your bubble a little bit here, but the Oakland Athletics are up a half a game from Boston after tonight.
Oh, they won today?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Boston lost, didn't they?
Boston lost, yep.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, Boston didn't play today, so Oakland must have won today.
They were losing when I checked.
They're tied right now in the 7th against the Angels.
Okay, and they'll probably end up winning that game because the Angels are terrible.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're pitching. The bullpen's really solid. Liam Hendricks, Frankie Montas is a beast. Lou Trevino, Yusmeiro Petit. Blake Trinan has struggled a little bit, but he's coming around. The rotation concerns me. I mean, I know Mike Fiers threw a no-hitter, but that doesn't mean that he's good. Sean Manaea is still hurt, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to be back for this year, unless if he's back for the playoffs.
Anybody in that rotation that is really good. Even last year in that wild card game against the Yankees, they decided to bullpen it because of the concerns that their rotation had. So the question I pose to you, my wonderful friend, is the Oakland A's, will this sustain? Will they have a chance at making the second wild card?
I say no, because the Tampa Bay Rays aren't going to slow down. Yes. They have a 5+ lead, and the Boston Red Sox are starting to turn it on.
Correct.
And once that team gets turned on, dude, there's no stopping them.
Yeah, I love the A's. I love how just gritty they are, how they just grind a season out. They're always good despite having shitty payrolls and never really having any stud players. But I don't think they make it either. I love what they're doing. I love this tear they're on, but like you said, the Rays, the Red Sox, those two teams are just way too good for the Oakland A's to really hang with them because their pitching is just not good, in my opinion. If maybe they'll go out and they'll get a guy, and this leads perfectly into our next news story. Mr. Madison Bumgarner, the country kid, the southpaw for the San Francisco Giants. The Giants are right now 21-32. They're done. They're not making the playoffs. If they come back and make the playoffs, I don't even know what I'll do, dude. But they're not going to make the playoffs. Mr. Bumgarner is a free agent after this year. Obviously, he's one of the better lefties in baseball when he's fully healthy. We saw him basically will the Giants to a World Series in 2014. He's been the guy, the kind of like the main guy on the market so far. And he came out. He has a no trade clause in his contract. He came out with a no trade list, teams that he said he would not like to get traded to. Those 8 teams are the Houston Astros, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Atlanta Braves, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Chicago Cubs, the Boston Red Sox, and the New York Yankees. So
what the
oddly
fuck,
enough,
dude? That is so he doesn't want to go to a contender.
Yeah, oddly enough, the 8 best teams in baseball, Madison Bumgarner is not interested in going to, which is.
You know what that means? That means he wants to sign with a shitty team, and I'm talking about my Chicago White Sox, and he wants to sign with a team that's rebuilding and ready to go. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Or he just wants to finish out in San Francisco, which might be the case.
That could be the case. Yeah, that is kind of what I think is going on. Mad Bum seems like the kind of guy to me that. Well, first of all, he's a psycho on the mound. Just the
he's a psycho. Period, dude. He's crazy.
Yeah, the demeanor he has, I eat that shit up. I love it. But he seems like the kind of guy to me who wants to kind of control his own destiny. And even though he might not sign with the Giants this upcoming offseason,
which I don't think he will.
He seems like the kind of guy that would just that doesn't want to get traded. He wants to stay where he's at. He's comfortable with San Francisco, and then he wants to go out and make his decision on whether or not he's going to stay or whatnot. I think if you're the Giants, though, I understand that he gave you pretty much like 8 teams that he doesn't want to be traded to. I think you kind of still have to trade him.
You have to, dude.
You have to get some sort of prospect capital.
He's going to get a lot of money thrown at him this offseason.
Exactly. So you have to get the prospect capital now. Don't be like teams in the past that have held on to their guys that don't want to be there and are not going to re-sign with you and not trade them. So, that being said, there's some teams that are not on Mad Bum's trade list that are interesting, that could potentially come up.
I think your San Diego Padres buddy might be in talk with that too.
We'll get there. All right. I think the 2 big ones, the 2 big players are going to be the Minnesota Twins and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yep.
Again, the Twins, we talked about Jose Barrios like 5 minutes ago. I think if you pair him with Mad Bum, that's a legit 1-2 punch, and that could really do some damage, especially with how good of a playoff pitcher Mad Bum is, just to get the Twins there, potentially make a play for a World Series. In terms of the Rays,
the way their offense is rolling right now, they are definitely a contender.
Yeah, legit. And they have the prospect capital to make it work, as do the Tampa Bay Rays.
Dude, I would love that, actually. Holy shit.
What?
Get rid of some prospects, dude, because their prospects are insane right now.
Yeah, the Rays have a ton of prospects. So do the Twins. I think the Rays have one of the best farm systems in baseball.
I think they do. I think after this year they won't, but they're bringing a lot of their guys up right now. But all of them are performing right now that they've brought up.
Yeah, they have guys like in the rotation right now. Obviously, Blake Snell is a stud. Glasnow, when he comes back, was incredible. Charlie Morton's been good. So you get those 3 guys, and then you add Bumgarner to that rotation with their bullpen and how they've been playing. That is my favorite to win the World Series if they get Madison Bumgarner.
Side note, Jock Peterson is up right now, and I'm hard as fuck.
Shut up, dude. I fucking hate that you like him. God. It pisses me off so much.
Oh, my God, dude. I'm smelling a bomb from him right here.
Going back to relevant things about the Tampa Bay Rays, a Mad Bum trade could definitely happen for Tampa Bay.
I would like that, dude. That'd be interesting.
I would love it, dude. That would make them the favorites for me to win the American League East, honestly. Honest to God.
Yeah.
I feel like Tampa Bay is just a place where he could probably also sign an extension, too. Because Mad Bum seems like the kind of guy who just like
he wants
to
be
stick
alone. Somewhere.
And nobody goes to Rays games, so maybe he's into that kind of stuff. Some other teams that could be in play but probably aren't. The Oakland A's, like we just talked about, they need pitching. They have the prospect capital to get it done too. Billy Beane doesn't really make those moves. And then the Padres, the San Diego Padres. I don't remember the last time we made a trade with the Giants. You know, the whole division thing. The Giants and the Padres do not like each other whatsoever.
Yeah.
But Preller has big nuts. Like, he has bull nuts, in my opinion.
He does. No, he really does.
Certainly, they have the prospect capital to get it done with the best farm system in baseball. I think the Giants, if the Padres are in the hunt for a wild card spot, if he went to San Diego, him and Chris Paddock would be my pick for the most psychotic pitchers in the league.
Dude, that'd be dope, dude. That'd be so cool.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think Mad Bum definitely gets traded, and
I think so too.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. The deadline will be interesting, especially with Cleveland struggling, Washington struggling. There could be some big caliber pitchers finding themselves on different teams after July 31st. Yes. The final thing about this podcast, then we're going to wrap it up. This is kind of like a personal thing here, so you don't really have to say anything. I have to make an apology. I have to make an apology to a player that I gave up on way too easily, for a player that I loved probably about 15 months ago, and then I hated up until last month. This player, before 420,
I know exactly what you're saying.
Take that as how you wish. Before 420, he was hitting 181, was terrible, was one of the worst players in baseball. After 420, and now on the season, he is hitting 300 with 347, 471, 9 bombs, 33 RBIs. He bats in the 4-hole for his team. He's been his team's best hitter. I am so fucking sorry, Eric Hosmer.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I doubted you. I am so sorry, because you have been so good for the Padres this year. He's a borderline all-star. He's not going to make it because Freeman and Bell and all those guys, but he's hitting above 300.
He might be a bench bat or a DH.
He's the only guy hitting above 300. I mean, he's bats right behind Machado in our lineup, which obviously guys want to pitch around Machado. That's fine. Get to Eric Hosmer, baby. He'll drive guys in. Leads the Padres in RBI. He's just really good. He's been really good. He's a Gold Glove caliber first baseman. And I'm very sorry that I shat on your life completely on this podcast. On Twitter, I wanted you to get launched to the sun.
That you did. You did. That is a word-for-word tweet from Diego Suarez.
And I have gone back to loving you. I will always love you on odd years especially. And you are right now making that contract look not as terrible as it was last season. So I'm sorry, Hosmer. Keep doing what you do, and our team will keep winning baseball games.
One more announcement. Breaking news from the MLB. The Atlanta Braves will host the 2021 All-Star Game.
And nobody gives a shit. Nice. Awesome.
There you go.
They have a new stadium, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I heard it's pretty dope. So, yeah.
Yeah, dude. But that concludes our second straight baseball podcast. I love doing these. I love talking football. I love talking some basketball stuff, but nothing gets me going like a good old hour talk about some baseball shit. I wish PT was here with us because he's cute and I miss him.
He's a cutie pie.
Hopefully he's back for our 35th episode. Thank you for listening, as always. If it was good, if it was dog shit, let us know how it was by writing us a review and giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts. You can find us there, Spotify, YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. And thank you for listening to the Ballots Podcast.
Adios, guys. Have a good one.
Perfect.